All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Rand Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this morning as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we could take advantage of in this amazing Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. Quick sound check. If everybody can hear me loud and clear, give me a huge favor, drop me a 1 in the chat. Let me know you can hear me. Make sure our chat is good. All right, I see the good mornings. I saw the one coming in. I appreciate it. But neat. All right, I see them coming in. Thank you. So let's make sure, as always, right? We always have to remind ourselves of the Forex Trade Room Credo, right? Taking massive action, making sure that we are accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing us for any outcome, and that we are centering ourselves in body, mind, and spirit, assuring a balanced approach to trading. Let's continue to trust in our education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Let's imagine our trades successfully materializing, right? Not doing that. What are we here for, right? And we want to make sure that we obey our trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and that we are never looking back or stopping once our trade has commenced. Can't say that last one enough. So with that being said, right, let's get out of here. Let's get rocking and rolling, move over. We are going to look at trading economics first, right? And so today, right, as a matter of fact, let's go over to the Forex factory. Let's do that. So we can look at, let's take a step back to yesterday, because we know the data for the United States was the advanced GDP. And we can see, right, that GDP quarter over quarter came in at 2.8%. The forecast was 2%, came in at 2.8, right? So above forecast, which is good, still growing. Not at the 3.1%, right, that it was before, but at 2.8, right? We'll take it, especially when the expectation was 2%, okay? Unemployment claims came through, right? They called it flat, right? It was forecast 237, but it did come in a little bit under at 235, right? So not bad. It's not bad. Still grinding, moving along. We had Lagarde speaking yesterday, and I don't have a headline on that. Didn't get a chance to do the research. Tokyo core CPI came in at 2.2, still hitting that range, came in at forecast. And then today, all right, today, we have the United States, the core PCE, right? And so this is the Federal Reserve's primary inflation measure. It is important to currency valuation because rising prices lead the central bank to raise rates out of respect for inflation and the containment mandate. And so it differs from core CPI in that it only measures goods and services targeted towards and consumed by individuals. Okay, so very, very important. It is their preferred measure. Expected 0.2%. So we will see. And then we've got sentiment too, right? That's another key data point that we look at is University of Michigan consumer sentiment. And so that'll be important today as well. But the main thing on the docket is the PCE. Here, Trading Economics has it forecasted that that it edged up, likely rose to 0.1% for the month of June, following a flat reading in May. Right, so saying it's going to creep up a bit. So we'll see what happens, but that is a key report. So we should see some volatility today. On what is a Friday. So Eurozone inflation expectations steady in June. So median expectations for inflation over the next 12 months in the Euro area remain unchanged at 2.8% in June 24. After having fallen in May, remain unchanged. Well, that didn't give me the rest of the article, but that's all right. So inflation expectations steady in June. We know that Lagarde, last time she spoke, she said that it's still wide open, right? As we move into September, through August into September, that is still wide open in regards to the possibility of rate cuts. another rate cut in September. It's wide open. So we'll continue to follow the data. European shares attempt to rebound. In regards to what we follow. Brent crude oil futures rose to 82.6 per barrel on Friday, extending gains from the previous session. Better than expected economic data, right? That's good. That's good. That we had the GDP growth number come out the way it did here in the United States. All right. Any questions regarding any of the fundamentals that we've covered so far? No. All right. Shifting over to the quant box, right? Looking at what do we have? Let's see. Moving. Uh-oh. Just happened there. Take a look at our risk gauges, right? As we're starting out. Right. So we gotta shift back. So we're bouncing back and forth, right? Between that risk on and risk off. It improved a little bit yesterday. The market started to recover a little bit, right? So we'll see how that plays out today with that core PCE data that comes out. Moving over to look at the score chart summary, right? We've got the Dow coming in pretty bullish. The pound CAD, Aussie NZD, right, is still up there. Pound NZD, right? So still seeing some weakness, right, out of that New Zealand dollar. We've got look, Aussie NZD, pound NZD, Euro NZD, right? So pretty much across the board, that lets you know that we've got some weakness in that New Zealand dollar, right? As we've been following that USD CAD, right? Still seeing this bullish Bitcoin, right? Still looking at being bullish. Euro CAD, NASDAQ, pound dollar, S&P, pound Aussie, right? Which we talked about yesterday. Scrolling down, take a look at what's seen as bearish, right? The New Zealand dollar, look, Swissy, so just the opposite. So we could tell, you know, where the trend is bearish in regards to the currency that's pretty weak, right? Currency or currencies, right? The CAD, right? So we know we saw with that risk off move, right? We saw some strength, some unwinding in the carry trades that helped out these safe havens. But I'm wondering if now, like for the yen, for the Swiss franc, if we're going to start to find some support, right? So we know next week is going to be big for Japan, right? With some monetary policy decisions, right? Can go either way, right? So in regards to rate hikes, the bond purchase situation, in Japan, what they decide to do. I know, right, that latest strength with the intervention, with the risk off move in the market, right? We know helped strengthen the yen. Okay, some carry trade unwinding. So I wonder, right, with the huge correction that occurred and seeing that the latest yen strength, if that causes them to change anything in regards to their, how they were thinking they were going to go, what direction they were going to go in regards to the monetary policy for this next BOJ meeting, since we have seen some yen strength. So we will see what happens with that next week. That's going to be big. All right. Let me make sure everybody has control over their microphones. All right. So let's move over to the charts, take a look at the DXY, right? Still kind of moving a bit sideways, right? We should see a reaction with the PCE data today. We'll see if it breaks us out of this range, right? This is looking at the daily chart. So we moved up and then we've gotten flat. Okay? And oftentimes when you have a big report like the GDP, like PCE data, which is huge, right? So GDP, key fundamental data point that we pay attention to, but then especially right now, considering the times when we're in this environment, everybody's talking about interest rates, the possibility of cuts. The PCE data is going to be very, very important today. So we'll watch out for that. That release is right at 8:30. Okay. So be on the lookout for that. Now, right out the gate, give you all the opportunity, right? Do you guys have anything in particular, right, that you have your eyes on that you want to take a look at? If you do, put it in the chat, and we can take a look at it to start out. And,
I was
yep,
looking at
Bitcoin.
UCAD.
UCAD. Okay. Yep. That one's been I've been tracking that one on the 4. That one's been a pretty good a decent move. Bitcoin, Euro, USD, Joe, you put that first. All right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin. We'll look at these and then we will continue to move through the charts. So looking at Bitcoin, right? That long, Joy, look at that, right? So continuing to move, right? So you said it, Joy said it yesterday, sitting right up against that 50, that 200 moving average is angling to the upside, right? In black right here, she said, hey, we just ran right into support and right into that 50 moving average. And look at that, right? Look at that. And so we are moving long on Bitcoin. So we'll see, right? Here's the 4 hour off, just off that low that I ran. And we can see that that 63,932 level, right? We held that zone and we're pushing back long, right? The cleaner look and where we hit our sweet spot was on that 1 hour chart, and we've gotten back long, right? So that's pretty nice. So we'll see if it continues to make the move to the upside. So good call on that, Joy. Right. And we've got a bullish continuation right now. Right. So kind of just how we drew it up, looking for the pullback. And we look to buy, right, on Bitcoin. So great job, Joy, on that call, right? Put you some sevens in the chat on that. Because you put us on high alert, right, for that 50 moving average yesterday. And I appreciate that. And then we'll take a look at the Euro USD. Joy. So we got that move down. And right now, right, really good move down. But we need to see, right? We've gotten a bit bullish. We saw that the DXY was flat ahead of the PCE data that's coming out. And so we haven't quite from the daily put in an official swing low yet, right? We need that second candle to the right if this is going to be the low. We know that our stochastic is back down, uh, to being oversold. So the question is, what kind of reaction do we get from the PCE data? We're saying we're putting in a correction now, but is this starting to move to put in a high price only to get short once that PCE data comes out? So this one is kind of a wait and see. If you've been in it short, right? Continue to manage your trade, close out, right? Hopefully you close, move to stop down. I mean, a bit to protect your short position. But just know that we do have the PCE data this morning, and right, can't predict how that's going to come out and what that's going to do. Okay. And so one of the things that we're learning, right, is that looking at these daily charts, we can see this move right to the upside, and then how we stayed, right? We didn't quite, once we came right below that 80, right? The momentum started to shift to the downside, but we hung up here above 80 for quite some time, right? And we still made the move, right? Bullish. Then we corrected. So the same thing can happen, right? The opposite can occur, right? So if depending on how that PCE data comes out, the market could still, turn over and move back bearish, right, in the same candle. So kind of a wait and see there with this Euro USD, but it has been moving to the downside off that swing high, right? We are on this 4 hour tracking the fibs to the downside, right, tap right into between that 50%, that 61.8 level, and now we're just flat, which makes sense ahead of the news at 8:30. We are flat. You're welcome. You're welcome. UCAD. I not wanted to take a look at the UCAD trade. Right? Because this will be impacted too today, right? US crosses. So here's that bullish move, right? Off the lows. Okay, it's been tracking that. And you see how once we got above 80%, how we're just flat. Right? Price continued to accelerate to the upside. Now we're in the weekly resistance at 138.43. So if we come down to the 4, right? This is how we've been moving within this current AB boundary. So you can see that we are still within that ABCD framework, but we got range bound, right? We got range bound for a bit, right? And we can't control that, right? We do not control that, right? How we came down, okay, and we got caught within these levels, but now we broke out, okay? So let's see what happens with this PCE data, right? But right now, the ABCD framework is intact, right? And we've been pushing long to break out of that range. So it's a wait and see, right? Our stochastic is back in the buy zone here on the 4 hour. So let's see. Let's see if is the data gonna cause a correction and then a continuation? Don't know. But so far, right, we've been on the money with that move to the upside. Any questions on that UCAD? Donette, is this pretty much what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, I have a sell. Yeah, I have a sell to 34304.
Okay, so you're shorting right now?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. On that correction.
the
So that's good.
correction, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I got you. I got you. All right. So I'll follow you there because it definitely put in a high. So let's see what happens with the PCE data. Again, that's going to be key. Can't say that enough. So just continue to monitor your trade, see what happens. All right. We've got your short position on that. What time frame did you play it off of?
Um, Hold on, let me look at my
Mhm.
chart. I want to say the 1 hour.
Oh, you took it off the one? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
30
Oh, I
minutes.
see.
Yeah,
Off it,
one
off it,
hour. It was a 1 hour. 80/20. It was
one
an
hour
80/20 on the 1 hour.
on a 1 hour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was an 80/20 on the 1 hour.
Okay. Gotcha. See. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a good move too. And now we've just got that sideways movement. Man, I can't stand it when you have a good move going and then you got data, the market just goes flat. Like, man, like that was moving in a good direction. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. This is gonna be so key because everybody's they're calling for a 90% chance. As high as a 90, depends on what you're reading, but as high as a 90% chance for a rate cut in September. Um, and so we'll see if the data uh, continues to fall in line with that. It'll be interesting. So to see. All right. Let's move on. But Neat had Euro Swissy. I am actually in that position. But Neat, I took it long. Uh, and then we'll take a look at the uh, the S&P. Okay, so let's look at the Euro Swissy. So if we come and take a look at this daily, right? We got that correction down, risk off move occurred, strength in the Swissy lately because of the unwinding of the carry trades. So we're getting a bullish move, right? Off the lows. Okay. Don't have an official swing low yet, but when I came down and look at this four, okay, we were hanging that's pretty low, right? In the zone, right? So I took a shot on that because I'm like, man, stop loss below the A, you know, it's moving, right? We formed a low. So I took a shot. So right now, I'm right on that swing, right? To the upside. It's beautiful 80-20 move. Beautiful 80-20 move to the downside. This gap is the the situation that happened with the charts for Smart Trader. I don't think that gap is showing up everywhere at all. But so I am long right now off the lows on this Euro Swissy play. So we'll see, if that continues. It's moved pretty good so far on the swing. Um, yep, C to D. Now, yeah, okay. I'll take a look at it. Take a look at it. Because that's one of the things that I have in my head ahead of next week with the Bank of Japan. Um, I don't know if they're gonna make the exact move that people think they're gonna make, and I'm wondering if we're seeing the lows right now on the yen. Because I did take the opportunity on the euro yen. I did play that, and also the Aussie yen. Um, So, and right now they're looking pretty good. And so I'm wondering if, we've seen the lows on that and we're gonna see buyers come in from this point forward again, right? They play mind games with their talks. They do a lot of job on it. But I'm starting to see through a lot of it though. I'm starting to learn my lessons with that. Um, but neat. How are you looking at this Euro Swissy? Just put it in the chat. So that's how I'm playing it. I'm playing it. I'm playing it long. You've been short for a couple of days. Yep, yep. Off that 80-20 play was nice. I actually bought this U-turn now on that. So but Mark the AJ did not take it, but the switch in looks great. Yeah, I gotta look at it. Yeah, I didn't take it because I didn't want to be I went in with a pretty solid order, and I didn't want to be over leveraged on the yen, so I only took those two. But I'm thinking, Beneath, I don't, I'm trying to. I took the shot on it, Beneath, using the risk management. I'm like, what I did was I saw it low in this zone, and I'm just like, if this is support and we're gonna make this run, that's a really good risk to reward on that. So I took a shot. So we'll see if it continues to climb, or if this is sometimes it's hard to tell when that transition is going to occur, right? So I would, if you've been short and you're up pretty good, maybe, if you're not getting out completely, definitely maybe adjust your stop, close out some profit on that. Um, because this sometimes it's just tough with the way we've been shifting from risk on to risk off. I mean, we've got data coming out at 8:30. A lot of times that PCE data can cause the market to react across the board. So it's kind of hard to tell, but I thought because it was just such a deep retracement in the buy zone, I'm like, take a shot because I was already out on the short play. I was already out on the short play on the Euro Swissy. So I'm like, let me try to pick off this U-turn real quick while it's low in the zone and I'm up now. So, I'm hoping this is the beginning of a C to D push on the Euro Swissy because in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, we got the unwinding of some carry trades that caused the yen, I mean the Swissy to strengthen a bit. Uh, but at the same time, when I look at, I'm thinking more like long term, you know, uh, when we look at uh, the COT data, the Swiss franc, is still by and large overall, uh, investors are short 89%. So that's a pickup 21.6% there, so I'm thinking just long term still bearish because they have had two rate cuts. They got out the gates ahead of everybody. So I'm thinking like, man, the strength that we saw, is more short term than long term. So that's the reason behind me taking this trade off the lows. So just manage a short trade. Maybe you may want to unwind it a bit. Maybe leave a percentage in, adjust that stop. So it's like, man, if I'm out and it does completely reverse and get long, then I've still made my money. So that's how I would approach that. But good job, right? Putting you some sevens in the chat because you've been short, right? You had a direction, right? On that move to the downside. And that was a huge move. This Euro Swissy pair can really get moving. Off that 80-20, I mean, we've come down over 200 pips, you know. Uh, and so after a 200 pip move, we know at some point we're going to at least see a correction. Whether that becomes a continuation, only time will tell. So good job, really good job on that. You are putting in some excellent work, and that's the whole point in the group is to uh to find that independence as traders and to really learn and understand these markets, right? And to know that it's the real deal, that is real life, is not a gimmick. You know what I mean? It's not a gimmick. It's something that you know, could pursue as a profession, as a profession, if you choose to. That's what we want people to know. All right. So great work, everybody. Great work. 80-20 on the 1 hour on the NAS. All right. So let me take a look at this S&P. All right. Okay. Indices. All right. And just keep in mind, like this price action is all pre-market right now, in regards to the United States. We know Europe is open and everything, but the United States hasn't, markets haven't even opened on the exchange. So take a look at this S&P. Okay. We've got a slight pullback on it. Okay, right this 236 now. So if we're just looking at levels, right, we're retesting this 54, 53. Okay, so we have seen the declines come off the highs, right? So fib or no fib, if you track that swing high, right, that's a beautiful short. Okay, and we saw, the markets had gone risk off. We came into this week, right? That's why, coming through the weekend, doing your homework is important. Saying, hey, in regards to the markets, stocks, indices, we have a lot of reporting coming from the big hitters this week. And right out the gate, right, we saw tech, right, take a hit. Okay. And so we got that risk off move in the market with the data that came out. Okay. So we'll see what happens today, right? Because this will impact the S&P, right? The PCE data, because everybody's trying to get, um, an even better idea of whether or not that rate cut for the United States is going to come in September. Right? And this type of data, right, takes us a long way in getting a better understanding, what's going on and what the Feds are going to do. Okay, so overall bearish, we've got a slight pullback, retesting that 54, 53 area. Let me take this down to a 4 hour chart, lower time frames. to see what we've got going on.
The 1 hour Benny has a nice 80 head and shoulder pattern.
Nice head and shoulder on the one. Okay. So let's go down to the one. Okay. Okay. So you're talking right here at this level, retesting this level here.
Yeah.
Yep. What you thinking here? Yep, I see it. Right. Get your left shoulder head, right shoulder. Right. Neckline. That's nice. You're right. You're right on that. Okay. It's really good, right? So that comes coming off that daily saying, hey, we're retesting this 54, 53. We're retesting it as a head and shoulders. That's a beautiful observation. Right. Seven's in the chat. It's great work. So we definitely, you know, if you've been short, the S&P, if you played it short, manage your trade, right? If you've taken, think about it, if you've taken it short, right, and you come off this area somewhere and you've gotten short, look, adjust that stop, move that stop loss down. Maybe ahead of the data, you close, you secure the bag a bit, take some money off the table. Here's a high here, right? If you're up pretty nice, right? So if I move my stop down, I've closed out all of this position, right? That's mine, right? Now, you may say, I'm going to take 50% off, 75% of my trade off, and then I'm going to move my stop into profit. So the last, if I've got another quarter left, right, that's running for me. So I've closed out, right? I've secured the bag. I've got another quarter left in the market to see if we get further declines, but I've moved this stop into profit. So if I get stopped out, I'm good at this point, right? And that's one way that you can manage the trade like that. But don't give it all back. Right? Don't give it all back.
Yeah, I'm playing it from the weekly 80/20 actually, S&P. So it's got a
The
while.
S&P. Yeah. So it's
The
yeah, it's
weekly.
yeah, so it's coming down. So we'll see what happens. But great job identifying that head and shoulders. Indeed, we have been bearish. Um, and we'll see what happens with the data if we catch a U-turn, with the PCE data, if the market rallies, right? Or if it comes through sticky and we continue to move down. Technically, right, with this structure, we're making lower lows and lower highs, right? And we've moved a bit sideways ahead of the data, creating a head and shoulders. But you can see the level clearly, right? And where we are on that. So we shall see. All right. All right. And so let's we'll look at the NAS, but then you also said you had marked up the AJ. So we'll look at that, this
Yeah,
Aussie
JPY.
yen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we'll look at the AJ, we'll look at the CAD yen, Swiss yen. All right, see what we got going on now. So we could see, right, where we've come all the way down. See, that's a pretty strong move. And now you see how we're getting rejected here. Right. Look at that wick, right? And then we've continued bullish from there. So we've taken out yesterday's high. Okay. So we will see. We know, like, you know, um, the PCE number can, like I said, it can have an impact across the board, in regards to sentiment and everything. So that's going to be a pretty big number today, right? This Aussie yen here, like you can see how we're long, right? Out this level. So this is why I played it. I'm like, look, it's deep in the zone. It's up against this, it got back up above that 99.97 level. I'm going to take it. So I kind of had the same mindset that I had with the Euro Swissy. Like it's deep in the zone. It's been a large correction. You know, is this the low? Right? Is this the low? Right? I'm not usually a major, hey, tops and bottoms. I usually just trade my zone. Right. And so it came into the zones. Nice 786 retracement. And let's see if we can get some bullish momentum from here. We shall see. PCE data looming. All right. So that's that. Any questions on that Aussie yen? No. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's look at this CAD yen setup. So we can see here, right, where right, we found some support. Look at that. Right? Look at that price action. So when you see that coming across the board, you're like, man, like, you know, even if it's a short-term correction, it could be a pretty sizable one. But if we get a continuation out of this and we get a move back to the upside for the long term, then I've got the sweet spot on this one, right? And so we're starting to push long. Skeptical about the CAD, a bit compared to a lot of the other currencies, right? As it has been weak, but you can see here where we've got this recovery coming off this 80-20. Right. So we know, right? Hey, let's at least get TP1, potentially TP2, and if it continues to make the run, then it's all good, right? We'll get those ABCD waves to the upside, but that's the CAD yen play there. We broke inner trend line, outer. Now we're headed towards that long-term trend line to TP1. Any questions on that CAD yen? No? All right. Okay. Do your best to stay within the framework. Will you have um, periods of where you have a losing streak? Absolutely, right? No trade strategy 100%. No, you know,
Can you
um,
go back to your daily, Benny, on that,
yeah,
please?
yeah, yep. There you go.
Yeah, if you put a fib,
Mhm.
um,
You want to come off the lows?
bottom from yeah,
Yep. All
see
right.
the D move for that 900
Mm-hmm.
pip move.
Yep. Let's do it. Bang. All right. All right. So we get long back to the high.
Yes.
Mhm. That's long. That's a huge move. But look, it's the yen. Like, and I just think just in these years, unless we see the major policy changes and a major shift, um, it's like, man, you really just you can play your 80-20s to the downside, but in the long run, over time, I've just seen like, man, it's like when you get a good, especially from the higher time frames, when you get a good low price, and it makes that U-turn, it can make a run for a long time. You know, that's just how the yen operates with it being an export nation. Because when that yen is too strong, it hurts their exports, right? And so which can hurt the businesses and things like that, and hurt the economy. So we'll see. We'll see. I like the idea. I really like the idea. See if we put a low in here, right? We don't have that official swing low yet, uh, but it looks pretty good, right? We have to continue to watch that CAD too, right? Because the CAD right now is just not the strongest currency, but we know that when runs get made against the yen, even the weakest currencies, tend to make the run as well. So we'll see if this is the area, right? Or we're gonna pull back and make another drive down. We'll see. That we can't predict, right?
Yeah. Cat
You said
Sheffy
it's
also. Cat Sheffy also has an 80-20 on the four, I believe. The four.
the CAD Swissy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Joy said we've got a 200, right, coming into play. They were bouncing off. Yep, it's back above that 200. It's angled up. We'll see. I mean, I'm just thinking, it wasn't too far in the past that we saw a huge yen correction, and then the market came right back and just it took everything back, right? Like last time they intervened, it's like it corrected and then everything just took off, right, to the upside and made another run. So, you know, we'll see if the past repeats itself, but looks like a decent low price. Let's see what happens. The You said the cat switch, right?
Yeah, on the 4 hour.
Four. Oh yeah. All right, so we'll take a look at the daily. Okay. Okay. So even if if we come back to retest 64.35, but we're in a position where we're starting to form that low. Okay, so the question is, do we get this push, right? And we see it in the form of an 80-20, right? We push past the zone. Here's that 64.31, right? Can we get back above that to TP1? Right? Right. See what happens, right? There's an idea, something to monitor. Okay. It's got a ways to go to get back to that 382 target and definitely to that 61.8. Right? We're dropping sevens all over the place on this Friday. You guys are on it. You're on the charts. That is good. That's the goal. That's the goal, right? We know in this group, we don't have to sit back and just take signals. Right? That's not what we're about. Okay. Right. You see it on the 1 hour too. That's a pretty good man. I had it marked up and took my eyes off of this one. Um, but that's a pretty nice, right, bullish candle there. You see how we just continued, right? So we look see if we can get pullbacks and continuations on that CAD Swissy. All right. Let's take a look at the Swiss yen. So, right, so we see every look at this move. Now, we've seen all these yen crosses. That's what's amazing about the yen. Like, it could be feast or famine, right? It could be, you know, a ton of success with the yen crosses, or you could just get blown up. That's why I try not to over leverage them, and take too many because I may say to myself, like, you know, oh, I'm just gonna take this cat yen and I'm just gonna take, this yen cross and this yen cross. And it's like, oh, I'm only in at 1%, but it's like, well, they're all yen crosses. So you're really in it. By the time it's all said and done, you're in there like 6%. Right. And so if they all go bad, you get hit pretty bad. But if they all go good, then it's a great day, right? And so you see this reaction right now, right? And so these are those times where it's just like, I wish I would have just bought them all across the board because it would be astronomical right now in regards to the amount of pips you would be, collecting. It's just always hard, especially with that yen and because of the influence from the BOJ and like Joy said earlier, like a lot of the talking, a lot of the rhetoric, a lot of the jawboning that they do, it just leads to so much speculation. So sometimes it's hard to know when it's hit that top, when it's hit that bottom, So we're moving bullish, and you caught a 80-20 on the one, right? Right. So I've got it coming off that 118 in that zone. Right, off that high, right off that reversal. So that's right at that 382. Great work. Right. That's how I have it drawn up. Do you have it drawn up differently with different smaller fibs, or do you have that coming off
No,
the high
that's the
as well?
same thing I have.
That's
Yeah.
the same. That's the same thing you had too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So we come off that 118 zone, boom, right there, 382, and see if we can get that further push up. This was see this move here, right? Remember everybody, this move here um never finished out yet. right? So that's why I'm thinking, right? It's come right back to the zone, right? To the top of that zone. And I'm wondering, with these just like, man, do we have buyers coming in for real now? We're going to finish this move, for example, right? To that 182.92 level, because that is a pretty powerful move to the downside. And there's, three different things that cause that move. So uh, again, with these yens next week is going to be huge. What they decide to do. But in my mind, I'm just like, this is a pretty sizable correction. They may not, like I said, they may not come in as strong as people think they're going to come, which would cause, right, you know, the market to rally against it. What's the VIX yet? Uh, Dashboard. So it's calling a daily rise right now. It's right at the edge. But it's hard to read the VIX here. You see where it's at, but it's hard to it's hard to um it's hard to gauge that ahead of major data like this, you know. Um this, things can go kind of flat ahead of the PCE data. So we'll see. We'll see how we come out. Yeah, because you always have caution, right? You guys saw I sent that screenshot yesterday in the group with the gauges. Let me go to the community and I'm getting ready, right? And you can see how we came back, right? With risk on, and now ahead of that PCE data, how it swung back the other way, right? So the weekly, of course, we know that we were risk off, but for yesterday, we started to see some rallies get put in, and now that gauge is flipped, right? Because we're ahead of that major data, right? And so I appreciate all these articles, right, that you put in here. It is huge. I got to get caught up on those. I saw those, but I didn't have a chance to read them yet. Uh, yeah. So definitely take a look at those today. So thanks for doing that. So that's where we are there on the on the Swiss yen, right? I wonder if that's going to be the low, but we've got to get back above, right? This daily zone there. So again, kind of hard, right? Sometimes you just have to take the shot, see where you end up. All right, that's that. Any other pairs? I
I
know
think you were
I
gonna look at
am.
NAS. I think you were gonna look at NAS.
Yes. Thanks for the reminder. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so looking at it from the daily, right? Similar position, right? Like we saw with the S&P just moving down, right? And now we've got that rally that we see coming in. Let's go down to the 4. Okay. So we've got a 4-hour support there that's coming in. But like I say, we'll see with this PCE data which way it wants to go. We hit an extension right there. But you can see this, right? This level looming here, you know. So, but we've got past resistance becoming future support here, right? So we see a reaction at this level, but like ideally for a low price on this, I would love to see this turnover, right? Don't know if it's going to do it and come right back down to retest these levels here. That would be beautiful. But don't know if that's going to happen. But we'll see. Big time data on the Friday. Should be quite interesting, right? And then how that data is digested by investors as we head into the weekend, right? And we see how they react next week. So that's that on the NASDAQ. And the Euro Swissy, the Euro. I'm looking at this dollar Swissy. I took it, it stopped me out on the reversal. Uh, Came up and hit my stop, but I've since gotten back in this dollar Swiss to the upside. Um, and I'm up slightly, and we'll see. Let me go back out to the daily. We'll see what happens with the news, right? So we came to here was this double bottom. We came back down to this level again, right? That's where I took the hit. But we'll see what happens with the data if it wants to rally. So it's up slightly. We're back above right at 88.26 level. So we didn't hold below, right? That's what I was paying attention to. Like, man, are we gonna hold? But we're just gonna continue bearish. But we're back above it. We got a bullish close. And it seems to be giving us a decent reaction. But again, it could be null and void with the data that comes out. We'll see. All right. But again, across the board, so we looked at the Euro Swiss, we looked at the Swissy yen, and now there's dollar Swiss. So off the reverse, I'm sitting up right now, but I'm doing pretty good, but we'll see what happens, how it plays out. I'm hoping that these are the lows for the Swissy and the yen crosses, and then we can get back bullish against those two currencies. But verdict's still out early in the game. Early in the game. I'm also got my eyes on this pound CAD. Got my eyes on this pound CAD because I put the fib on new AB boundary on a daily. We're not quite oversold. We're in this range, right? Between 178.25 and 176.94. But when I ran my fibs off the low on a 4, off this latest swing, right? It's been a bit all over the place. But we're right at a 61.8, and we've got a stochastic that's in the buy zone on a 4. It's hard for me to turn away from that. Because think about it. I'm trying to, for the most part, the reason why I take shots on trades is because especially like your C to D moves, because when it hits that buy zone, I'm trying to get, I'm trying to risk $1 to make 3. Right? I really love those scenarios. Right. So we come out here, 60 some pips we got to that extension point. So, I'm risking $1 to make 3. So when I see trades come into the zone, 61.8s deeper, things like that, I'm more inclined to take a shot on them, because at the end of the day, my edge plays out if I stay consistent, right? Because it's probability. Right. So when I see it coming to this zone, I get on high alert, especially, the pound is bullish, right? So if we go, if we go and we take a look at some of the data, we see the pound rose above 129 after data showed that and this is versus the dollar, right? After the data showed that the UK's private sector activity expanded robustly in July, the PMI data indicated a slight acceleration in services activity growth and the strongest manufacturing output since February 2022. These figures met expectations, with companies reporting increased confidence, hiring, and new orders following the Labour Party's landslide election victory. Despite this, there has been no significant change in the Bank of England's rate cut bets, with the probability of an August cut remaining around 40%, right? So 40%. So, things that, are not looking bad, with the pound, um, especially in relation to, the CAD, right? We know oil, right? Looms large with the CAD. We know that GDP data helps the case that came out yesterday for the United States, helps the case for demand, with oil. But we'll see. But that is sitting in the zone. It's moving sideways right now. But that's one to keep an eye on, is that pound CAD. I'm interested in to see uh, if this is indeed a CDD push zone. The euro yen. Let's see. Want you that because still, but my SEC radar. Talk to me about that, Joy. What's on the SEC radar?
That one of the articles that I gave you is the papers they submitted to the SEC for regulations for that coin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
All
so I think so. I wish I would have seen it sooner, because it is some stake. They got some early on investment staking going on, but
Yeah.
it's not tradable yet because they're waiting for the SEC ruling.
Okay. I see. All right. So let's see what happens with it. Like I said, I'm gonna read those articles today. I am Ryan will be running tomorrow's session because I will be out of town. My daughter they made the nationals for competitive cheer. So I will be out of town tomorrow. So I won't be on tomorrow morning session. I appreciate it. Yeah, I let her know all the congratulations coming through. Yep. So this is it. So if they do what they need to do here, they'll be national champs. So we have to go down to Lexington, Kentucky, actually. So I'll get to stop through Cincinnati and see my family, and you know, hopefully cheer them on to victory.
Kentucky
So
is nice too.
What'd you say?
Kentucky is nice.
It is nice. It is nice, especially that Lexington area is pretty nice. So yeah, I used to play a lot of football down there, games and stuff coming up and growing up in Cincinnati. So definitely a nice state. So that's that. What was this euro, this EJ is moving pretty good as well to the upside, right? So again, just taking a look at it, moving. We're back above 167.73. So like I say, maybe we're getting those lows on these gens. We shall see. So that's it. That is all I have this morning, right? Especially ahead of that the PCE data. So that is an hour away. So keep that in mind. So if you see the market starting to jump all over the place, that is why. So hope with some of the trades I have running that are up pretty good, I'm hoping that there's no surprises with that report, that it just needed just to come in and just be steady. Because I would hate to see all my trades get blown up. But yeah, that is it. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Friday. I appreciate all the hard work that you all have put in. I appreciate all of you continuing to show up each and every day for yourself to really learn what this is all about. And I will see you all next week. Enjoy the session tomorrow with Ryan. He's going to do an amazing job as we look to see what's setting up for next week. With that being said, bye for now, everybody.
Take some money off the table there, Benny.
I am.